Hey, I'm Natalia. Here on this channel, I talk about native-like fluency in English. We talk about strategies and the methodology together. So if you are a language learner who is interested in achieving mastery and virtuosity, keep watching. Today, I would like to share a few quick tips about improving your spontaneous speaking skills in a foreign language. Specifically, I would like to share the things that I personally do, the things that help me personally, and hopefully you will want to try the same exercise for yourself. I want to start off by saying that it's very, very important for me to be able to spontaneously express my thoughts. Right now, I'm speaking in front of a camera. I don't have a script. I haven't prepared every word of what I'm going to say, and I know that a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers have a script for every episode that they release. I think it's a smart thing to do, especially if you record a lot of episodes every day and you know exactly what you want to be saying, but I'm not that kind of person. I haven't gotten there yet, maybe, or maybe I'm never going to get there. To me, it is very important that I'm able to communicate and express my ideas on the spot, spontaneously. When I feel the urge to say it, I need to be able to say it. When I know what I want to deliver, I need to be able to deliver it. And of course, I want to be able to do it with correct pronunciation. I want to be able to build my sentences correctly on the fly. It doesn't always happen. I do make mistakes too, especially if I'm spontaneous and unprepared. And look, I do these mistakes in my first language too. When I listen to myself, to the recordings of my videos where I speak my first language, I hear the same mistakes. Slips of the tongue here and there, wrong grammar, wrong prepositions, I swallow words, I drop my sentences halfway, I do all the same things. So when I make these mistakes in English, I know where they're coming from. But I think at this point, I deliberately do not want to script my episodes, because every time I do an episode for YouTube, I practice my spontaneous speaking skills. And this gives me confidence, because every time I do it, I get better at what I do. And the better it gets, the better it gets. That gives me confidence, which I need as a learner. So the first thing that I do to practice being more spontaneous and to practice being okay with being not prepared, because we're never prepared in life. Right? Somebody said something, somebody replied, somebody asked a question. You can never be ready for that. You can never script every conversation you're going to have in life. The first thing I do is I speak a lot. Again, that's the reason why I make these videos, because that's my opportunity to practice. I speak a lot. If you're not a YouTuber, if you're not a teacher, if you do not have this goal, I need to make videos in English, you don't have to do this. You still can practice. Let me tell you how. You take your phone and you record yourself using your phone. You record yourself. That's it. That's how simple it is. A lot of people will go like, well, what should I be talking about? I have nothing to say. That's not true. If you want to become a good learner, and I encourage you to go and watch my video about being a daring learner, rather about becoming a daring learner. A daring learner asks questions. A daring learner is someone who practices looking for the answers to their own questions. So a very simple thing you can do is you can ask yourself a question. What is it that I learned today? What is it that I practiced today? Or what is it that I want to practice today? If this sounds like a complicated question, ask yourself this. How was my day? What do I remember the most about today? Ask this question in the evening, at the end of your day. There is always something you can talk about. I don't want you to practice something perfect. The point of delivering spontaneous presentations, I should rather say the point of speaking spontaneously and the point of practicing spontaneous speech production is that we are ready to deal with uncertainty in everyday life situations. Nobody expects you to deliver a perfect speech when you are and the situation full of uncertainty. Nobody expects you to be crystal clear about the things you are experiencing or feeling if you yourself are not sure about the things that you're feeling at the moment. A very natural human response here would be, I want to understand what's going on. We want to talk to someone about the things that are happening, about the things that are going on. And very often we ramble our way to clarity. I have a video on YouTube which is titled Ramble Your Way to Clarity. We start rambling about it so that we actually understand what is it that's going on with us. In simple words, you start thinking out loud. And you're very fortunate if you have someone to do this together with you, or somebody who can listen to you think out loud. If you don't have someone to listen to you think out loud in a foreign language, record yourself. And even if you have someone who can listen, record yourself, because you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself because you want to improve your spontaneous speaking skills, don't you? Start simple. Start thinking out loud about anything. You can start thinking out loud about your cat. You can start thinking out loud about your cat, about your day, about your emotions, about the situation you're in, about a work situation, about the deal you're about to close, or the product you want to sell to that client at work. Anything that you need in real life, because it's all about you and your experience, and it has nothing to do with the English language, really, and what you need to learn about the English language. You're practicing your skills. Step number 1 is think out loud about something and record yourself. You don't want to try to be perfect. You want to look at a very real and raw process of how you speak. You're going to record yourself, which means you have something to listen to. The next thing that I usually do is I transcribe my own speech. If you're someone who's just starting out, I suggest that you do it the old-fashioned way, the way I did it. When I started many years ago, I would grab a pen, I would listen to my own voice message that I have now on my phone, and I would transcribe, meaning I would write down every single word that I said, that I heard myself say, every filler word, every filler sound, every preposition, every wrong preposition, every word, and every wrong word too. I would create the exact and the very accurate transcript of everything I said. This is why you don't want your voice messages to be very long. You want them to be super short. How was your day? Tell me about your day. It can be a 30-second voice message. And trust me, this is more than enough. You don't need to record a 10-minute speech. Start with 30 seconds. This will motivate you to keep going because it's easy to record a 30-second voice message. It is doable. You can actually sit down and transcribe a 30-second message. It doesn't take as much as transcribing a 10-minute speech. And you know what to do with this. Instead of putting in a lot of effort in one exercise and trying to learn as much as you can from it, you need to build a system, meaning you want to do this exercise as often as possible, ideally every day or every other day, where every day or every other day, you have a chance to look at your own thought process. How do you think in a foreign language? Because the transcript, once it's ready, is the reflection of how you think in a foreign language. This is how your thoughts flow. Because what you say is what you think. Simple. The next step I will do is I will edit. I will edit the transcript. And this is, I think, the biggest mistake that so many language learners make. They want to immediately deliver a perfect speech. They want to be correct when they speak. And they want to immediately learn to do better as they speak. This is impossible. When you speak, you have other priorities, especially when you speak with other people. You have other tasks in front of you. You need to understand, you need to listen, you need to respond, you need to hold the conversation. It's not the time to think about grammar. It's not the time to improve your prepositions. It's not the time to improve your accent. You self-correct after. It is impossible to improve your speaking skills when you're in the middle of speaking. You can only do this work after. And if you do this work consciously, you can easily unlearn a lot of things that you don't need to repeat when you speak. You can unlearn all the behaviors, all the speaking patterns that do not serve you any longer. Maybe you remembered them incorrectly a long time ago. Maybe you learned them incorrectly. Maybe you learned the separate phrase correctly, but you failed to use it correctly in a sentence. Maybe you used it in the wrong context. It doesn't matter. You just need to understand what the mistake is and get rid of it and replace it with a natural sounding expression, the one that native speakers will find easy to understand and you will like to use. This is why I added the transcript, and I don't try to do my best when I speak. I don't want you to misunderstand me. Of course, I try to do my best when I speak. What I mean here is that my focus at the moment of speaking is understanding, is how is another person understanding me? Am I being clear? Are they receiving my message? And am I receiving their message? Collaboration, communication is my focus, and not how perfect is my English. I do want to improve. I do want to sound more clear. That's why I do this work after. That's why I do these exercises on a daily basis. I do speak a lot every day, and I have a lot of materials to analyze. I have a lot of video messages to watch and voice messages to listen to. And I self-correct a lot. I edit my own transcript. Here's how I do it. The first thing I do is I eliminate all the words that don't belong there. All the filler words, all the filler sounds, all the wrong prepositions, all the fragments, all the half sentences, all the repetitions. I eliminate those. The next thing I look at is I look at my sentence structure. Does every sentence have a subject? Does every sentence have a verb? Are the verbs in the right tense? The next thing that I look at is the flow. Does my message flow? Is there a structure that my listeners can follow? Am I taking them from A to B? Or am I confusing them? Am I going in circles? What am I doing? And the last thing I look at is variety. Am I being monotone, or is there variety in the way I speak? I have 4 videos on variety on my YouTube channel. Go and check them out. You will understand what I mean. I want variety because it helps people to hear and understand me, and I like to be heard and understood. I like this feeling. I think everybody does. It's a very basic human need to be understood. But it's our job too. We need to learn to communicate in such a way that we are understood. We cannot expect other people to unconditionally love and understand us if we're not even trying, if we're not attempting to make an effort to help them understand us. It's our job to help them understand us, meaning we want to learn to stress words correctly, pronounce them correctly. It's your job to look the word up in the dictionary instead of guessing the pronunciation of every word. It's your job to look up the meaning of the word instead of using the word the way you understand it, hoping that everybody else will share this understanding. Of course they will not, because they are native speakers. They grew up using this word exactly the way that all the other native speakers use this word, and then you come along with your own understanding of what this word is supposed to mean, and then you are surprised that nobody understands you. It has nothing to do with English, really. It's a very interesting phenomenon when people live in kind of parallel realities and they understand the same words differently. They understand the same situations differently. And it's very difficult to reach understanding if you live in parallel realities. Sometimes it's impossible to change when people see things differently in any language. But sometimes when it comes to communicating in different languages, people create these unnecessary parallel realities where they actually want to reach consensus and confluence by using words incorrectly, by being inattentive to how they use words, by being inattentive to how other people perceive what they say, by being inattentive to themselves and to how they perceive the information. Because a lot of non-native speakers, as everybody, rely on their experience, on their past experience, but they don't understand that they don't have enough experience to rely on because it's not their first language. And every time they receive the information that they think they know, they should actually check. They should actually go and check this word again. Because every time they look up the same word in the dictionary, they're going to learn more about this word. They're going to learn more about the context. And eventually, it will help them understand the word at different levels. It will help them to go deeper and deeper to uncover more layers of what this word can mean in different situations, in different contexts. Practice checking the information again and again, and accept this idea that you probably don't know everything, even if you think you know it. I keep looking the words up. I keep reading the definitions and the examples out loud in different dictionaries, English dictionaries, of course, even if I know the word. Every time I end up finding something completely new, because every time I find this word in different context. So when I edit my own transcript, I question the words that I use. Did I use the right word here? Is it good for my context? Is it doing a good job here? And of course, articles. I check my articles in my transcript. Did I use the right article? Did I forget the article? Because there are no articles in my first language. And even though I think, I've progressed quite a lot when it comes to articles, and I understand them a lot better now than, let's say, 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I still practice understanding what I understand. And I question everything I know about articles. And the final step is that when my transcript is ready, when I finished editing my transcript, I say it again out loud. But what's important here is that I do not simply read my transcript, because, I can read a piece of text and it will sound boring. Transcribe and listen to my text, say it again. It can sound very boring. So what I want to do instead is I want to read my own transcript, the edited transcript, so that no one can tell I'm reading, so that it sounds like I'm telling the story again, so that it sounds like I'm making my point again. I want to read it so that I do not sound like I'm reading it. Very, very important. A lot of people want to say it again without ever looking at their script. And if they have to check in with their script, they think it's cheating. To me, it's not cheating. To me, it's helping you. If the more times you look at your own script, because it's your work, the more often you look at your own work, the better you remember it. Simple. So if you need to look at your own script, please do. Because now you do have a script of what you wanted to say. It should feel easier, but you don't want to read it. You can read it. You can rely on it, even heavily, but you want to sound like you're not reading it. It means you want to give meaning to every word you're going to say. You want to pause consciously. You want to see those articles, those changed prepositions, those new verbs that you added, the new punctuation marks. You want to consciously use everything that you added to your text. You want to now consciously deliver this beautiful piece of information. And there's a big difference between writing the text or writing the transcript and delivering it. Some people are good at writing the script. Some people are better at delivering the script. To me, it's important to practice both. If you're someone who needs to practice presentations in a foreign language, you understand how important it is to be able to do both. Prepared presentations, let's say a keynote speech, a 45-minute keynote speech that you're expected to deliver in front of a crowd of people, and a spontaneous 10, 15-minute speech that you're supposed to give to your coworkers or to your team. Or when somebody asks you to speak up, or when somebody asks you about your opinion, or when a client asks an unexpected question. You know the importance of the skill, and you know that you can never be prepared for those spontaneous situations. That's why I practice it. And that's why I want to get better at delivering my message, especially in situations when I'm not prepared to deliver my message. The more I edit my own transcripts, the more confident I become about using the language correctly. The more confident I am about my prepositions, the more confident I am about articles, the more confident I am about my pauses, the more confident I am about the structure of my sentences and of my message. And that's it. When I practice the last step, I record myself again so that I have something to listen to, so that I have two recordings that I can compare, the initial version and the edited version. And somebody may say, well, you got to say this. You didn't get to say this. This is what people heard, so how much sense does it make to be proud of this? And I'm telling you, it does make a lot of sense, because if this is something you enjoy doing, if you create a result that you enjoy, and if you make it a rule for yourself to edit your voice messages and to self-correct after the speaking situation, you are creating the new norm for yourself. You are creating the new patterns for yourself that will become easy to reproduce. The next time you will want to explain your idea or frame your idea in a similar way, you will naturally go for these expressions that were in your edited script, because you invested time, effort, and you did so much work, and you did all this work yourself. You will appreciate your own effort. So you're going to do this, and you're going to go for these expressions. And the more often you do this work, the more confidence you're going to build from within. And every next spontaneous situation is going to be less stressful for you. So that's the exercise that I do every day, only 4 steps. Try it. And if you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to share the result of your work, please post it here in the comments or in the community of practice. I'll be very happy to not only share my process, because I do share my process a lot in the community of practice, but to give you feedback on yours and to answer your questions. Thanks for watching.